there goes my tool. Hey everyone, Mike here, and welcome to my channel. Today is officially the day that I've been putting off for a few months now, and for those of you who've been following me on Facebook or watched a couple of my videos, you know that I'm talking about the dreaded thermostat change. So it shouldn't be that bad. It's going to take a little bit of work, a little bit of time, but I've actually been putting it off simply because I've been doing other things with my car, with autocross and stuff, so I've been kind of waiting to get that season over with, which it officially is. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to tackle that, put that new thermostat in. The way this whole thing actually kind of got started was my temperature gauge on my instrument cluster was having like a dash Fahrenheit, which is basically nothing instead of putting the actual temperature. So originally I thought it was a coolant temperature sensor, swapped that out, still had the same problem. So now I believe that it is a stuck open thermostat. So the thermostat is stuck in the open position and the engine is not heating up fast enough, which is causing some issues. So I want to give a little shout out to Carlos Ferrer, and he's on Facebook. He's been kind of walking me through. He actually changed his. Now he has a turbo version. I don't think it's going to be that big of a difference between his turbo and my normal engine. But big shout out to him. He's been kind of walking me through what needs to be done, and even had some tips on refilling the coolant as well. So see how that goes. But in the meantime, let me go ahead and get this project started. Alright, so the first thing I'm going to tackle is taking off this front piece from the windshield, and that requires taking off the wiper blades first. And there's these little caps down here. Underneath there is going to be a nut that will just unscrew to pull it all off. But I'm going to go ahead and try to take this cap off first, and then there's a cap on the other one as well, and get this thing off of here. And that comes off pretty easily. And there's the nut. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to take a marker or something and just kind of mark where this is supposed to be whenever it's done, so everything is kind of lined up perfectly. I don't know if I have to do that, but anytime I deal with something that has to be aligned perfectly, I go ahead and I mark these things. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and undo this nut, and this is actually I believe it's a 5/8 size nut that's on there. It'll probably take a little bit of finessing to get this thing off of here. Alright, maybe I'll just try rocking them back and forth, see if they come off. Actually, I feel like getting loose. There it is. And this one's off. So I'm going to go ahead and do the other one. Alright, so they're both off of there. And now what I need to do is pop up these little plastic rivet things that they have here. And then there's also these little screws that I got to take off going down there as well. Then this whole thing should be able to come right out of there. Oh, and I also have to, I almost forgot, pop the well, I'll have to get that with so I don't break it. Pop the washer fluid hose off of the little pump thing there. Okay, I needed both hands to do it just because I use a screwdriver. But anyway, I just use a little screwdriver here just to pop this hose off this end here, and I'm going to do the same on the other side. Alright, so now I'm just going to go ahead and pop these babies up. Like I said, these are just those rubber or plastic pine tree looking fasteners. There we go. They look like this. So there's a few of them. There's a couple of them going around, so I'm going to go and actually this Looks like it might just be the one on the other side, and I might have to do this one, I'm not sure, but definitely that one, and there's one more, and then we have these 7mm little screws there that I have to take out as well. And there goes my tool. Okay, got my screwdriver back. Actually, it's not a screwdriver, but anyway, got it back, and just going to go ahead, and so I don't lose it again, I'm just going to go ahead, undo these, and put them aside. Okay, all the screws are out, those two little plastic things are out, so this whole front piece should just be able to pop right out of there. So let me go ahead and set this camera up and take that off. Okay, I was taking that off, and in order to get this whole rubber piece off, you have to get this also, you also have to get this one in the door here. There's a plastic little push pin thing there, and that has to come out as well. Let's see if I can pop it. There we go. Oh, of course I drop it. Nothing is staying in my hands, but anyway, I think I pretty much have this that I can. Something else is connected, but let me see if I can go ahead and get this thing enough out of the way that I can start working on it. Okay, basically it was just the washer fluid line that was kind of connected to this, so I just was able to just go ahead and slide it over and flip it up, so now it is completely out of the way, and I got a lot more room down here to work. Alright, so I switched cameras so I can zoom in, but the thermostat housing is actually right there. So just kind of give you an idea. There's the engine, there's the exhaust manifold, and it's behind here, and it looks like a little dome thing right there. And there's one of the bolts right there I have to get out, and then of course there's another one that is, let me see if I can zoom in on it. I think that's it right there. There it is. That's the other one I have to get out. But obviously with the shroud out of the way, that's going to make it easier. But supposedly this back one's the most difficult one to get to, so we'll see shortly. But in the meantime, before I do any of that kind of stuff, I need to drain the antifreeze that's already in there. So let me go ahead and do that. And actually, just to kind of show you, I believe the petcock, let's see if I can get some light down there. Okay, I believe that is what I need to get to. That is on the radiator. So, oh, sorry, a little unsturdy here, but anyway, that's the petcock there. I believe that's the one that I have to undo, and I cannot get my fat butt under there to do it by hand. So I'm gonna have to raise up the front a little bit, so just so I can get under there to take that bad boy off. All right, so I got that loosened up from underneath, and it's actually draining. It's not draining very fast, but it's draining. So I'm gonna go ahead and let that do that for a while. And at the same time, I also loosened basically disconnected or unscrewed the cap for the reservoir as well. So I'm just going to let that sit, let it keep doing that until it's done, and then I'll go ahead and start tackling the thermostat, which should be a little bit easier because there shouldn't be as much, hopefully not as much fluid in there once that radiator is drained. Alright, so the radiator is drained, and it looks like I can go ahead and start tackling the thermostat. Like I said, there's a bolt right there. If I can get the focus. There it is. The bolt right there is in the back one, and then the one in the front is right there. Oh, let me zoom in. There it is. It's right there, and I believe they're both 10 millimeters, 10 millimeter bolts. I'm going to double check just to make sure. And we need a long ratchet extension piece, and maybe even one of those little swivel things too. So let me get that stuff together and try to get these bolts out of here. Okay, but first I'm going to go ahead and slide my pan underneath the car here, and I think it's actually kind of neat. I got it at Walmart, and instead of just being a pan, you know, all the fluid is on top, it kind of rolls it down and kind of keeps it underneath there. And it looks like it might be too large for me to slide underneath there, so I gotta lift the car up for a little bit, just a couple of inches. Okay, actually from looking from the other side of the engine, you can see exactly where the thermostat is, and there's the two bolts, or the two screws, whatever you want to call them, in there that's holding it together. So I might actually be able to get it, believe it or not, from the driver's side instead of on the passenger side. So I think I have extensions long enough. So I don't know if it's because it's the 2.4, maybe it's in a different location than the turbo 2.0, but might try this way first. At least I can loosen them and get my hand down there and unscrew them the rest of the way from there. So I might give that a shot, and if that doesn't work, then I'll head over to the passenger side. Alright, so I'm actually going to try it to get it from the right, or the driver's side here instead, and see if I can. First of all, I got my, you can see it, there we go, my super long extension for my smaller wrench, because it's only a 10 millimeter, typical 10 millimeter thing here. So let me see if I can zoom in to show you where I'm going with this. Where is it? There it is. And I'm attached. Now let me see if I can twist it. Alright, that's on there pretty tight, so let me, anyway, you kind of get the gist of it. I'm going to try to get from this side, the driver's side, but I need two hands, so I'm going to drop the camera for a second. Alright, so I was able to break the back one loose, which everyone says is the hardest one to get to. So I was able to actually break that one loose, and now I'm going to go ahead and get the other one, which is right there, and break that one loose as well. Alright, so I got both of them loose. You can see here was the second one. It's right there, so I'm going to go and, actually I'm going to loose it a little bit more. I didn't mean to take that off. Loose it a little bit more. Get in there. This is like trying to loosen something with a wet noodle here. Okay, it might be loose enough for just to hit it with my hand here. Let me try that. Hold on one second. Let's see if I can use the camera. I know it's shaky. Okay, I still gotta loosen it some more. I gotta do it with two hands, so I'm gonna go ahead and put the camera down and loosen them up more. Okay, just to show you, I was actually able to just kind of stick my hand down there once they were loosened. I was able to get to those two bolts. And again, this is from the driver's side. Every time I hear something on Facebook or be giving suggestions, I'm hearing to grab these things from the passenger side. But this was wide open on the driver's side to get to these bolts pretty easily. And now I'm just gonna take this apart, and hopefully it comes out, thermostat comes out easily. And I might even be able to do everything from this side in general. So, like I said, it might be because it's the 2.4 liter. It has less, it's less complicated than the turbo. But so far everything's going good from the driver's side of the engine. All right, so hopefully you're going to be able to see this. I might be blocking the camera, but I'm going to try not to. It's a part, and the thermostat's actually on that top part right there. So let me go ahead on the other side. I'm going to pull the thermostat out. Here it is. If you can see it, here it is. And the gasket's actually still in there too, so I have to take the gasket off as well. And here is the gasket. Hopefully you can see that. Okay, here's our two thermostats here. This is the old one, here's the new one. The old one, the gasket came off whenever I was pulling it out of there. But you can see this one actually, I can kind of zoom in here a little bit. The gasket on the inside is kind of broken and worn out there. So that may be causing some of my problem. Where this gasket, it's on there, and the inside is nice and sealed. The other thing that's interesting, I don't know if it's just the design or what's going on, but this one has, the old one has a really high top part here, where this one is a little bit smaller here. So I don't think that'll make a difference, or maybe that's how maybe that's how it's stuck open. I don't know that much about thermostats, so maybe that's how it's stuck open. Maybe that's way open like that. But anyway, that seems to be my problem, is the stuck open thermostat. So if you guys can tell me that, you know, this is not the way it's supposed to look, then I'll know for sure. But in the meantime, I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to install this one, and hopefully that'll solve my problem. Alright, it took some finagling. I was able to get the thermostat in. You know, I just need to probably go on the other side. I just need to get this pipe right here, put it back down on the thermostat. Alright, see if I can zoom in here. Bolts are back on, right there and right down there. So now I just have to tighten up the bolts and fill it back up with fluid. Alright, so now it's time to add the fluid. I'm just going to go ahead and add it to the reservoir here. I already kind of loosened the top here from draining it. Okay, I got the reservoir filled, and now I'm just going to kind of show you what I do before I hook it all up. There's actually a hose that's right here, and it's a coolant hose, and it kind of comes around all the way here, and it comes to a T, which is right here. So what I'm going to do is this hose here, I'm going to put like a bottle or something on the end of it, because this is going to be my, I guess my overflow hose for now. This one I'm going to pinch off, and this one here doesn't really matter. So I'm going to pinch this one off because it comes from the radiator, and it's going to want to send some fluid my way as well. So I'm going to take these apart, pinch this off, use this one, have it go into a bottle or jar or something, and then what I'm going to do is take this one off, put my air compressor up against that, and it's going to, you know, once it gets some compressed air, it's going to force the fluid through the engine, and then it's going to come out here, and once I stop seeing air bubbles and everything else coming through, I should be good to go, and I can start it up. So like I said, General Motors and other people say you basically take this off and you lift it up really high to use have gravity do it. Well, forget gravity, I'm going to use compressed air instead. So let me go ahead and get that all hooked up, and then we'll get it started. Alright, so here's the setup. Like I said, we got this hose coming around, and I have it going into this little water bottle here. This hose that was coming from the radiator, I have that clamped off with some vice grips. Here's the T originally, and this hose is actually going to nothing, because this is where I'm going to put the tip for my compressor, which is right here. Just going to kind of put that into there, turn on the compressor, and it should start forcing the fluid through the engine and coming out here, hopefully, with all the air and everything else. So as soon as this comes out as a fairly decent stream, then I think I got all the air bubbles out. So let me go ahead and put this camera on a tripod so you can see it working. See the air coming out of here. Okay, so I'm going to try this again, and one of the things I forgot to watch was the fluid level of the reservoir, so I'm going to make sure I keep an eye on this, along with looking for the air coming through this. You got to kind of keep an eye on both of them. So you don't introduce air in it like I just did again. So I'm going to start this back up again, keep an eye on this, and hopefully we'll get this done in one shot. It's a nice steady stream now. Okay, I didn't see any kind of air gushing through anymore. So I think we're good to go. I'm gonna push it one more time just to make sure. Yep, nice and solid going through there. So let me go ahead and hook these hoses back up again and start her up. Alright, hoses are all hooked back up again, and I'm just going to go ahead and start it up. And basically what I'm told is you rev it for about 5 minutes at around 2000 RPM. Keep an eye on the temperature, and unfortunately my temperature was already at dashes, so I don't know if I'm going to have to, I'll probably clear the code first, and then I'll start it up just to get rid of those dashes so I can see what the actual temperature is. Anyway, run that for 5 minutes, put it back down to idle, keep an eye on the temperature, and possibly do that twice to make sure we're good to go. So let me go ahead and start her up. Okay, I cleared default code. I have my temperature back. So let me go ahead and start her up. Okay, so now I'm going to basically just go in and check to make sure nothing's leaking. Alright, those are okay, that's okay. Let me go on the other side. Really hard to see the thermostat from here, but don't see anything leaking down there. That's good. And down here. Good. I know it's hard to tell. But anyway, looks like it's fine down there as well. There it is right there. Alright, so everything looks like it's good to go. There's no leaks anywhere that I see. So I'm going to go ahead and rev it up to like 2000 RPM for a few minutes.
Five minutes later.
Okay, so the temperature went up to 180, and actually 181, and then it went back down to 180 to 178, and then went back to 180. So I think we're good to go. I'm gonna let it idle here for a few minutes, and then maybe rev it up a little bit more just to make sure it doesn't go up way high. But I think this job is pretty much done. So as always, if you like this video, please smash that subscribe button, hit that like button, tell your friends. I have a lot of other videos that I'm going to be coming up with this season. Glad this job is done. Thermostat, actually, I don't know why I was dreading having to do it, but it was actually quite easy, especially with the 2.4 liter. Sometimes there's an advantage to not having a turbo. But anyway, that's it for now. This video. Like I said, hit that subscribe button. There's a little bell. Click that little bell or tap on that little bell or whatever as well. You'll be notified of any new videos that I come out with. So that's the end of this video. I'll see you at the next one.